So first things first, this call is a continuation of our call with Angela, which was in October. And in October, our call was about yin yang journaling. We were very close to autumn equinox, and so we were very close to the point of balance between yin and yang. And now we are exiting winter and entering the yang start of the year, which is spring and summer. And we are in a very interesting point of transition. And this point really calls for some deep questions and some journaling. And I would like you to focus on your own process and on your own winter as we go through the questions. So what we are going to do, I'm going to start and I'm going to give you some prompts, and then I'll share my experience and my tips, and then we will hear from Angela. So I hope it will all work. So wrapping up our winter. Why we are wanting to wrap our winter? Our life is a flow. And with wrapping up one season or one part of our life, we are looking to enter a completely different path. We are looking for a new step in our life. And it's very important to see how we can create this continuum. So we can see how our wishes, our hopes this winter, and our actual life experience will contribute into this incoming spring. I would like you to focus in your life on three important time points. So talking of winter, we're talking about December, January, February. So the first point is beginning of December. How did you feel back in the very beginning of December? You knew that winter is coming up, Christmas celebrations, New Year celebrations, and this time for rest and relaxation and pause and meaningful connection with people. How did you feel? What did you want to do? What was sort of needing to happen in your life? What was wanting to happen in your life? And then if you go a little bit back, a little bit earlier, how did you actually arrive to this point in December? Not what you were looking for at the beginning of December, but how did you arrive to the point at the beginning of December? What was your year? And obviously this would affect what you were hoping for, what you were planning for your winter. And fast forward, end of February, how do you feel now? How do you feel about your winter already past you? Because today is the 1st of March, beautiful beginning of spring. A little bit problem with tech, but it happens. So how do you feel looking back? And I would like you to, looking at those 3 points in time, I would like you to focus on 5 type of questions. I would say there are 5 main levels of questions, from yin to yang, or rather in our case, from yang level to yin level, depending on what you want to focus on and how you want to describe this time of your life to create flow in your life experience with your journaling. So the first question, the most young level of question is, what did you want? What did you want from this winter? Or what did you expect to happen? What did you feel should happen in your life? This is a very young level of question. Second level is, what was happening? This was kind of a reality check, daily reality check. What actually happened during this time, during your winter months? And then looking a little bit, sort of stepping back, looking at a bigger background, what has been happening in your life in general lately, and how this particular chunk of time, your winter, how did it feel? How did it sort of fit in the big scheme of things? So this is a long-term view, background. And then descending more into the yin energies, what was needing to happen? This type of question, for example, if you would feel like you work a lot and then you need to rest more, then what was needing to happen, whether you planned it or not, was your rest. And on the opposite side, if, for example, you procrastinated a lot, you planned a lot, but you didn't do anything in the external, then maybe your needing to happen was actually to show up with your life's work. So it depends on your situation. So please reflect where you was there. And the most yin level of all, what was wanting to happen? And what was wanting to happen is a very interesting question in a way that we can have a shortcut to it. So for example, for me, the shortcut would be, what do you see in your dreams? Because dream is something that we see. This is not something that requires any work on our part. We just see night dreams. And very often, the symbols in our dreams just represent a shortcut of what is actually wanting to happen or what is needing to happen. They are similar questions. Needing, I would say this is more awareness level. Wanting, this is more like felt sense, tuning into sensing level. This is a deeper level. And of course, there is a long way to find out what was wanting to happen for you this winter. You go back, if you keep a journal, you read your journals December, January, February. So you read your entries, you might tidy up, you might just see your traveling to-dos and transfer them for spring, whatever you planned, but you didn't do. But then really reflecting on your journals as you would when you're reading a novel, when you read a book by somebody, what it is that this person is trying to say between the lines. So this is what is wanting to happen. So I would really like you to reflect a little bit on it and see how it goes. So I would like to hear from Angela in a minute on her experience, and this will be in common because of, as I said, tech problems, unfortunately, today. But let's get past it and focus on what we want to do together. So I would say that when we are talking about winter, we are talking about water element in traditional Chinese medicine. And water element has its certain qualities, more on it a little bit later. At the very end of the call, I'll give you a visual, how you can really see what water element looks like in your life and what water element can bring you in this particular winter. So I would say for me, winter and water element is about stop, get comfortable, feed yourself, ask questions, and dream. So I would summarize it like that. When I'm saying pause, we need to really pause. We were invited in the beginning of December and all winter long to pause and reflect and pause to rest. Pause to create some energy conservation and get comfortable. So we obviously warm, we are cozy in our energy space and not necessarily with winter blanket, although it does help. And I'll give you an example why I'm saying that, because for me, this particular winter it played out completely differently. So ask questions. This is about journaling, but this is also deep introspection by any other means. And as I said, for me, this winter, it played out slightly differently. And dream. Sometimes we also actually need to face our unresolved fears because this is water element and it rules fear and trust. Fear of what might happen based on our assumptions, previous experience, expectations, but also trust in the process of life. And dream and contemplation, because winter and water element is about planning, dreaming, visualizing, contemplating, not acting yet, because the energy of action, the young energy, is not quite there yet. So for me, I'll give you an example, and then you can see how this 3 points in time and 5 levels of questions sort of grounded, anchored on these key words for winter played out in my life. At the beginning of winter, I was really, really tired. I did a lot in 2024. It was a very productive year for me, but I got really tired. And all I wanted was just to cozy up inside with my blanket and stay there as much as possible and rest. What happened instead? And I think this is what needing to happen, wanting to happen for me straight away. I actually spent a lot of time this winter working outdoors. So this is quite different, right? I wanted to stay cozy indoors. Instead, I was working a lot outdoors, even so actually it was a very cold and very wet winter. But because of my particular life setup this winter, it happened to be the only time when I was able to be by myself, with myself, without any distractions. And actually, I created this pause and I had really good reflection during my winter walks. So this is my tip and this is my view on how you can approach it. And I'm going to look at questions in a minute, and I'm hoping that Angela will give her perspective. And most of all, the call is for you who are watching us now. And please give your perspective and ask your questions. Okay, you can see some questions. So the question is to give idea more on reality check. Reality check, when we're talking about daily events, is very, very simple. You observe day by day where the main part of your energy goes. If, for example, you journal, then you can read your journals and then you see where the main part of your energy goes, especially if you keep a time log. If, for example, you want to be more productive or you just want to find out where you actually where your energy actually goes, you can keep a time log. So you write down your timing and your activities every day. And this is like, if you haven't done it before, this is really, really advisable. It's very simple, very cool exercise because you will see yourself in timings. This is completely different picture. So you'll discover a lot about yourself. So ask your journal, ask your time log, ask your friends what topics comes up in conversation with your friends. This is also reality check. What you're repeatedly talking about, asking them what comes up in your conversation. Uh, Ask your bank account. What have you been spending your money for? Ask your Google search. Quite simple. Lots of people spend a lot of time on the internet. Well, what do we Google? What do we search for? So this is your reality check. There is a little bit, obviously, further development to that. You can see all those things which have been happening during your winter, but you can also see, looking at this, what was not part of your life, what was not happening, what was missing, what was sort of logical to happen to balance out all these activities we talked about, but what didn't happen. So this is a very simple way how you can do reality check. So Angela, can you give us your perspective? I cannot see it in comments. I hope you're here, Angela. Okay, while I'm, yeah, what been calling for our attention? Absolutely. Sometimes, most of the time, our soul, our inner self speaks to us in a very small voice. And it's up to us to basically create conditions to hear this voice, to this voice to emerge, to shape up, to come up, sort of softly but loudly enough for us to hear what this inner voice is calling, because sometimes it's not what we want to hear. It's not at all. It could be a surprise. It's not necessarily what we don't want to hear. It's not what we didn't expect to hear. Sometimes it's not what we want to hear. If it's calling for more rest and we have to work, this is not what we want to hear, or vice versa. But sometimes it could be more subtle. Sometimes it's something that is not in our awareness. What I found in general with my working with people, even in therapies and otherwise, with journaling and dream work, life in us always strives for some balance, and whatever is missing tends to come up. So what been calling for your attention exactly? Okay, so speaking more about this inner voice. My main message for this particular time, end of winter, beginning of spring, would be to create conditions for this inner voice to emerge. And you will be helped by this coming up young, fresh, new energy of spring. And yeah, maybe reading your journal to see what was wanting to come through all this time. But again, reading more between the lines rather than reading the lines. And I would like to give you a visual which you can use as kind of a prompt. Obviously, there are many prompts that you can create, right? Just from what we shared already. But I would like to leave you with a visual and see how it sits with you. And again, you can create journaling prompts from it. One of the qualities of winter, which is water element in Chinese medicine, is yielding quality. So water has downward movements. Water always, 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 unless it pumped, right, by electricity, always flows downwards. And it goes down, down, and down. This is the elemental quality. In opposite to fire, for example, fire element, fire always goes up. It can go sideways, but ultimately the direction of fire is upwards. The direction of winter is downward, so it's a very, very downward movement. So close your eyes, take a nice deep breath, sit straight with your back straight, and just visualize water descending and trying to find its way through some landscape of your choice into the lowest point. So this is your ultimate yin. And see what kind of images, what kind of words, what kind of associations come when you have this visual. So how, if you let this water uh, element in your life to go where it needed to go, to the most low place, to the most downward space in whatever scenery, what do you see? What do you feel? What do you sense in your body? How does it go? You can take it as a prompt, stay with this visual, and see what comes up. So hopefully then the yang of action come spring will organically grow from this as soon as you connect. And even so we're in March, and technically by calendar, this is already spring. The energy of spring is not there yet. This is in between season, and this is a beautiful invitation to actually wrap up the winter, focusing, looking back, focusing on those simple questions. So I hope it was helpful. I'm really sorry for the tech, and see if you have any questions. And if you don't have any questions, then yes, please create journaling prompts from it. In March, I will be giving free consultations, 15 minutes consultation to create journaling prompts. So if you want to create a journaling prompt which is personal for you, please do connect. Let me know. And I hope to see you soon.